Now, a troll on its own wasn't going to be a big issue, but our chef calls in the boys. I walk Cuffs over to make use of the ever-powerful just closing the door manoeuvre, and discover that the chef must make a good shake as the boys are more numerous than initially expected. We pelt the boys with Fireball, but they make really good use of Hold Person. I don't really notice it properly at the time, but Silvertongue essentially has 4 people beating down on him in this fight. And this is pretty rough, as I don't have my cleric, and you can't take potions when you're held, so our healing is limited. It was only really when we hit 50% health on him that I realised we were in a dicey situation. I really didn't want to lose him, he only just joined. And that's when it happens. A lightning bolt. I realise there's nothing I can do at this point. I unpause, and somehow we live! We get stupidly lucky with such a small amount of damage. Just a little bit more and we would have lost him. We rest up, without going outside because I didn't learn my lesson last time, fight through a few more fairly normal encounters before coming across something else intimidating. Vampires. You know, in retrospect, this really wasn't the dungeon that I should have left my cleric behind for. It's actually painfully obvious at the time, but I'm just being stubborn at this point. We make really good use of a summon to tank the vampire's attacks, and I'm lulled into a bit of a false sense of security. You see, one of the dangerous things about some of these enemies is that they inflict level drain. This immediately reduces the level of your character, and we are particularly vulnerable to it in this playthrough because of the way that our health works. Our party members have really low health. Most of them have rubbish constitution scores and don't actually have the health they really should have for their level. When they get level drained, they still lose a massive chunk of their max HP because of this. Silvertongue really shines in these fights with the undead as he's immune to quite a few of their attacks and abilities. Just down the corridor from this is another dangerous enemy, a pack of shadows. Some of these have the ability to level drain as well, so we might now get to see how horrible that is firsthand. We make use of the choke point at the entrance to the room so that only a few of them are able to hit us all at the same time. It's not enough to escape unscathed, however, as I miscalculate the range of Fireball and we take 2 of them in the face on Poser. As we spread them out, we're able to actually pull off the legendary Door no Jutsu this time. It's a good thing too, as we managed to separate out one of the most dangerous ones from the pack, the Shadow Fiend. That all goes really well, but then Silvertongue gets level drained by a Wraith as soon as we go to open the door again. That's a quarter of our max health we've just lost in one hit. We push on a little bit further and meet a treasure hunter who gives us a quest to unlock a tomb for her or something, but we need to sort this level drain out before we can really go on. Now, continuing in my stubbornness, I head off to the temple and woo, 750 gold pieces? No. I'm not paying that. I'm supposed to be saving up money so I can save Imwin, remember? We can't go around spending it all willy-nilly, and I finally admit I need a cleric for this, and I head back to get Shoutout. And while we're there, we drop 4k on a sweet new axe for Cavail because we keep running into enemies he can't hit with his normal axe.
Well, that's gratitude for you.
As much as I'd like to say that after that we got straight back into it, we were actually ambushed on the way back again. We found a guy who was poisoned, and now we've got to take this guy to the docks. We also pick up another wannabe Cuffs. This is a timed quest, so we're just going to get the timed part of it out of the way as soon as possible. Heading back to the city yet again, we enter the docks and we are attacked by the mighty Habib Khalid Ahmed Alif. This dude throws a sword at us and runs off, but never actually turns hostile, so we don't get him, I guess? And continuing into the docks, clearly coming at night wasn't the right idea because we run across yet more fighting. We jump in and attack the vampire so that we can at least get some XP in the process, and while that's going on, Cavail gets level drained. Now that we have Shoutout back with us, this is actually quite a simple thing to resolve. We just throw him a quick healing spell, and all he has to do is sleep it off afterwards and it will be like it never happened. Coming around the corner, we have an entirely unexpected encounter, the Mad Cleric, and we're going to call him Grandad. He's a fighter cleric multiclass, and to be honest, I don't think I really properly appreciated how strong he is. He has way more spell slots than he should, and he's basically on par with what SoA has for cleric levels, but with 6 levels of fighter thrown on top. He goes into the PC for now, but I'm sure we'll see him again later. We finally head down, hand the poisoned guy in, collect our reward, don't allow Zar to distract us with yet more quests, and then we get back to the dungeon. So, in order to get into this tomb for the treasure hunter, we've got to defeat these guardians and assemble a mask. All of the guardians play out the same. They cast a fire shield, it hurts you when you hit them, they go invisible, and they explode. There's probably a more intelligent way of killing them, but I pretty much just keep smacking them until they're dead. This place is full of traps, so I'm sending Sparky ahead to check all the doors. This is pretty uneventful, and then I open this door. What the Yeah, that's a beholder. What on earth is that doing here? It's the start of the game. This is the guy on the front of the monster manual, for God's sake. It's not time for him. Luckily for us, no one can overcome the power of Door Fu. So we get to think about this a bit longer before we're forced to do something about it. We dispatch the other guardians that we have access to, and it's confirmed we will need to kill that beholder before we can advance. Thankfully, we have the answer. Sparky can take him on by himself. And don't worry, I'm not mad. One of the scrolls we picked up for Sparky while we were back in town was Polymorph Self. This lets him change into a whole bunch of different things, but one in particular we're interested in is the Mustard Jelly form. In this form, we're completely immune to magic, and all the beholder wants to do is spam spells at us over and over and over. A lot of the damage done is actually from the beholder's own spells, because he sets up this AoE ice spell that I'm immune to, but hurts him, so he basically ends up killing himself. It's probably going to be a little while before Sparky tops this one. We continue around the path, and turns out there was another way the entire time. The door was even open, so didn't have to kill that beholder after all. Moving swiftly on, we spawn the final guardian, and he is very underwhelming. He's immune to magic damage and does pack quite a punch, but has basically no health, so goes down very quickly. Going into what looks like the final room, I send Sparky ahead again. I'm expecting the old king to rise up as a lich or something along those lines, but this happens instead.
Well, this isn't suspicious at all, is it?
I'm not in the best position for this, as some of my squishy characters are right in the front, and my summons are at the back. We throw out some of the loot we just picked up and get precasting. The encounter's triggered, they all quaff their potions and unleash their buffs. Cavail starts taking an absolute beating, even with his crazy new armor class. So it's definitely time to break out the items on my side as well. We get a good fear as their cleric runs out of the room and we door him. I'm really struggling to deal with the remaining enemies. I've gotten too far into the game and I'm not packing all of the anti-magic spells I really should be, and I'm being majorly punished for it now. Cavail's blood potion content gets into dangerous levels this fight as we have to keep chugging potions over and over again. Their wizard casts death, and we don't have a death ward up.
Out of my way! You there!
Calm down, Corvair. Mr. F don't like the killing people in the streets.
Shut your mouth, dwarf. As for you,
When we were crossing the street, Corvale was closest to us. And while we're there, we dropped 4 gems for Corvale.
I can break an arm. Stand back up and you'll regret it. Yeah, be off with you.
Corvale, no! You were so close. We were about to meet your boss. It only seems like moments ago that you accosted us in the street for no reason. This wasn't how this should have gone. And I only just spent all that money on a new axe for you, damn it! We were so close to avoiding this as well. Just under a second after that death spell is cast, their wizard is held by Shoutout, and is basically then immediately chunked by Charname. Oh well. With Corvale gone, Charname starts taking a beating instead. We are struggling at this point, as the enemy characters are invisible. The new sword that we picked up actually allows you to see through invisibility, but I unfortunately don't know that yet. Charname keeps on chugging down potions until we are just about able to take down the rest of their party. On the way out, we take a moment to off the cleric that we doored earlier. We trudge off to the only other remaining path, as I incorrectly assumed that we would be transitioning to the other area pretty quickly, and I wanted to see what the next encounter would be. Instead, we go through a series of fairly non-eventful encounters. I do love this absolutely terrible attempt at deception with the Wolfwares though. You'll please help. We are lost in this place, adventurers like you. We've been trapped here for days, and we need a healer's touch most immediately. Come this way. Why have you been left alone? If you have wounded, would the orcs not just kill you? We have made a deal with them, yes, that is it. They have let us leave, and we, do not bother them. It is a good deal, I think. And they let you keep your wounded around here indefinitely? Ah, yes, you see, it is a very good deal. No more talk. You just walk in to help the wounded, yes. You make deals with orcs? What kind of adventurers are you? Deals? I'm waiting. Ah, you wait no longer. Ambush stupid when you're already in lair. Firkragg be damned. I kill you for food. We didn't see it this time, but there's another great line in this conversation that's something along the lines of, come into this room, only one entrance, very safe. It's brilliant. Clearing out that wing, we go on to what is actually the last section of the dungeon, a bit quite delayed as I keep setting off traps. The mini-boss in this bit, Tazuk, is pretty tough. But all in all, this last bit hasn't been much of an issue. He does a fair chunk of damage, but is eventually completely overwhelmed by summons. We find the NPC we're trying to rescue, and after a bit of inventory management, we head downstairs to the next area to get the key.
Yes, very well.
Welcome. You have come as I wanted. It has been an interesting game, but to tell the truth, I tire of it.
Here we find out Firkragg is a dragon, and he tells us that he's essentially been messing with us because our stepfather annoyed him a long time ago. He lets us know he's bored of us now, won't bother us any longer, and we can even have the daughter back if we can defeat one of his goons. I was really hoping that we would fight him in this room so that we could just steal him, but alas, he teleports back up to the previous area. And it's just worth mentioning, remember that we won't ever be able to catch Firkragg, as he is a boss and it's against the rules. He wouldn't be able to pick through most of the doors anyway, to be honest. Coming to the Mage Encounter, we've learnt some hard lessons over the course of this dungeon, and we make sure to take them into account. We break out the Seeing Invisibility sword, and we use some scrolls to let us get through his magical defences. There is still a moment where the guy casts Finger of Death at Poser, but luckily it hits one of our mirror images. We manage to take him down, and we complete the quest, a bit one fewer in number.